there is good evidence that the Gospels are historically accurate descriptions of the life of Jesus. Archaeology is the study of the material remains of humans that they've left behind. And so that's what archaeology is. We look at the things they built, we look at the pottery they used, we look at those sorts of things. And that tells us a lot about the culture of the people at that particular time. And but it can't prove a miraculous event. That's just beyond the scope of archaeology. And really, for those of us who follow the Lord Jesus, we do so by faith. And so it's not a blind faith. There is good evidence for that the Gospels are historically accurate descriptions of the life of Jesus. And really the best evidence, I think, for the resurrection is the fact that we have the written testimony of his earliest followers that claimed that the tomb of Jesus was empty that first Easter morning. And especially when you consider that there were people who were hostile to Jesus, who eventually put their faith in Jesus when they encountered him risen. I think of his brother. I think of the Apostle Paul. So you have hostile witnesses and the disciples. The disciples themselves, almost all of them, ended up being martyred for their faith, for their belief that Jesus rose from the dead. Now, I did mention earlier, we have the writing of Tacitus who says, describes this mysterious superstition. There is one other artifact that's really intriguing, and it may relate to the resurrection of Jesus too. It's called the Nazareth inscription. It's a marble tablet with a Greek inscription. It apparently came from Nazareth, in which Caesar says that anyone who is caught robbing bodies from tombs will have the death penalty imposed upon him. Now that's strange because tombs have always been robbed in antiquity, but they don't steal the bodies, they steal the goods. They don't steal the bodies. So what historical context could there be that would cause the Roman Caesar to have to, in the area of Nazareth, publish this edict outlining that there would be a death penalty for anyone who stole bodies? Well, if you think back to Matthew 28, we read there that the lie was spread about that the disciples stole the bodies. And Dr. Clyde Billington, who's an associate professor of ancient history at Northwestern College, has studied this in depth, and he concludes the context of the Nazareth inscription clearly proves it was written for Jews and not Gentiles, that it was almost certainly issued by the Emperor Claudius in response to the story of the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. And so another artifact. Now, all archaeology needs to be interpreted. And so some other people can look at that and go, I don't think so. There was a study done just a year or two ago on that particular artifact. They looked at the limestone from it, or the marble from it, and they were like, this came from an island, a Greek island, Kos. It's not from, Israel. Well, that's where they got all of their marble, was from Greece. They don't have it in. So just the fact that it was imported doesn't mean that the inscription is not authentic too.